Mahabharata, Chapter 29. A recap of the story so far. A lot has happened in the Mahabharata story so far. We've seen 4 generations. We've seen education, war, jealousy, skill, strength, asuras, gods. We've seen love. We've seen people abide by the laws of dharma even during times of extreme distress. We've seen a lot, and it is time to do a quick recap of the Mahabharata story so far. King Shantanu falls in love with goddess Ganga. Ganga poses the condition that Shantanu should not question any of her actions. If he accepts, Ganga would marry him. Shantanu, blinded by his love for Ganga, accepts her condition and marries her. Ganga drowns the first 7 sons born to Shantanu and herself. These 7 children were originally the 7 Vasus, or celestial elemental gods, who were cursed to be born as humans by sage Vasishta. Ganga drowns them as soon as they were born to immediately relieve them of this curse. Of course, Shantanu does not know this reason. He is distraught, but he keeps quiet on account of his promise. The 8th son born to Ganga and Shantanu, also one of the cursed Vasu, is Devavrata. Once Devavrata is born, Ganga tells Shantanu the reasons behind her actions and leaves Devavrata with Shantanu and returns to the heavens. Shantanu gets lonely over time. He eventually falls in love with Satyavati, a fisherman's daughter. Satyavati's father imposes the condition that Devavrata should not become the next king after Shantanu. Instead, the sons born to Shantanu and his daughter should become the next king. To ensure that Satyavati's sons inherit the kingdom, Devavrata renounces his right to become the king and takes a lifetime vow of celibacy. This gives Devavrata the name Bhishma. Are you with me so far? Okay, let's proceed. Shantanu and Satyavati have 2 sons, Chitrangada, who dies at a young age, and Vichitravirya, who marries the sisters Ambika and Ambalika. When Vichitravirya dies without having children, Satyavati calls on her first son Vyasa. Vyasa was born to Satyavati and sage Parashara when Satyavati was very young. Vyasa performs Niyoga with Ambika and Ambalika, and 2 sons are born. Pandu, who is born pale and weak, and Dhritarashtra, who is born blind. Vyasa also performs Niyoga with a servant maid, and the wise Vidura is born. So, Vichitravirya's sons are Pandu and Dhritarashtra. Ambika and Ambalika's eldest sister Amba becomes Bhishma's arch enemy. She gets the boon that she will kill Bhishma in her next life. She is reborn as the warrior Shikandi to King Drupada. Pandu marries Kunti and Madri and has 5 sons who are called the Pandavas. Kunti invokes the boon given to her by sage Durvasa to obtain these celestial children. 3 children are born to Kunti: Yudhishthira through Yamadharma, the god of death, Bhima through Vayu, the wind god, and Arjuna through Indra, the king of Devas. 2 children, twins, are born to Madri through the Ashwini gods. They are Nakula and Sahadeva. So Pandu, with Kunti and Madri, has 5 sons called the Pandavas. Dhritarashtra marries Gandhari and has 100 sons called the Kauravas. The eldest of the Kauravas is Duryodhana. The Pandavas are naturally gifted and are brought up with virtues and rich values. They are also supremely skilled in warfare. Duryodhana and the Kauravas hate the Pandavas and are jealous of them. They attempt to kill the Pandavas several times, but all attempts fail. The maternal uncle of the Kauravas is the evil Shakuni, who helps them come up with ways to defeat and kill the Pandavas. Shakuni also hates the Kauravas, but he keeps this a secret. Shakuni hates the Kauravas and the Pandavas as his father and brothers were murdered by Dhritarashtra. Kunti, at a very young age, had also invoked the boon she obtained from sage Durvasa, and a son called Karna is born through the sun god Surya. Kunti abandons this baby as she was only a little girl when she had Karna. Karna is picked up and raised by a charioteer in Hastinapura. Karna goes on to become a very close friend of Duryodhana and the Kauravas, although he is the eldest brother of the Pandavas. No one except Kunti Devi is aware of this true origin of Karna. The teacher of the Pandavas and Kauravas was Kripacharya at first, and then the famous Dronacharya. Dronacharya and King Drupada were childhood friends. Drupada goes on to become the king of Panchala. Drona remains a poor Brahmin. Drupada ends up humiliating Drona owing to his vanity and pride. Dronacharya vows vengeance on Drupada. Arjuna is Drona's favorite pupil, and once the education is over, Drona instructs Arjuna to defeat Drupada in battle. Arjuna defeats Drupada, and Drupada is humiliated. Now Drupada vows vengeance against Dronacharya and obtains a son called Drishtadumya, who is destined to kill Drona. Drupada also obtains a daughter called Draupadi, who is destined to marry Arjuna. Duryodhana plots to kill the Pandavas by building them a palace made of wax and by setting it on fire. But the Pandavas escape and live many years in disguise. During the time in hiding, Bhima marries Hidimbi, an Asura, and fathers a son called Ghatotkacha. Bhima also defeats other Asuras in this period. Arjuna wins Draupadi in a Swayamvara. The Pandavas marry Draupadi in unison. That is, all 5 of them marry her as a result of a boon that Draupadi obtained in her previous birth. The Pandavas, after spending many years in the forest, come to Hastinapura and are granted half the kingdom by Dhritarashtra in the hope that the Kauravas and Pandavas will live in mutual peace. But Duryodhana continues to hate the Pandavas. The Kauravas rule in Hastinapura and the Pandavas start ruling in their new capital called Indraprastha. They both own half a kingdom each. Everything is seemingly peaceful, but Duryodhana's hatred is brewing within. Before we end this chapter, let me repeat the genealogy once more. Shantanu and Ganga's son is Bhishma. Shantanu and Satyavati's sons are Chitrangada and Vichitravirya. Satyavati's son through sage Parashara is Vyasa. Vichitravirya's sons with Amba and Ambalika are Pandu and Dhritarashtra. Pandu's sons are the Pandavas. Dhritarashtra's sons are the Kauravas. The Pandavas marry Draupadi. So, the stage is set. Let us proceed to the story from here on.